Hello, Stephen Berg here. Welcome to a specific example of how to use your free action guide to develop your 4-point immediate action plan for creating change in your marriage as quickly as possible. Now, I'm assuming that you've already watched the 3-part video series, Do-It-Yourself Marriage Transformation. If not, please click on the link below and watch the series, because this specific example is exactly how to use the tool that series leads up to. Okay, great. You're still here. I'm assuming you've watched the 3-part video series and you're ready to roll with learning exactly how to use this action guide to create your 4-point immediate action plan to get you started with positive change in your marriage as quickly as possible. As you recall, there's 3 steps to this process. Step 1 is basically helping you to identify your goals in your marriage, be able to identify them more clearly so you can feel them in your heart and see them very clearly in your mind. Step 2 is plugging in these goals here and then identifying specific actions that you can use to build towards those goals, identify potential barriers that might get in the way of reaching those goals, and finally identify something that you could use to either break through that barrier or go around it. And then step 3 is to sort through all those responses and develop your 4-point immediate action plan. You're going to choose the goal that's most important, because each blank has 3 possible answers. So you're going to choose the one goal that's most important, and each goal has 3 possible either 2 building actions or a barrier breaker. So you have 3 possibilities of what you can do to work towards that goal. And together they create here we are. Together they create the 4-point immediate action plan to get you started towards positive change in your marriage. So let's get started using an example with a lady we will call Samantha. It's a fictitious person, so it could be her real name or not a real name, but it doesn't matter because she's not a real person. But Samantha is in her 30s. She's a professional, maybe a nurse, maybe a lawyer. She's very career-minded, wants to move up the corporate ladder type of thing. She's unsure about having kids. She's not totally against it, but it's not her highest priority. Her husband, on the other hand, is very much a traditional kind of guy. He wants to have his wife and 2.3 kids and, of course, the white picket fence. So as you can see, there's a little bit of tension between the things that they want. So we're going to work through this action guide with Samantha's responses so you can see exactly how it would work. This first sentence here is, I would like to feel my husband truly supports me. Now in this case, this would be Samantha wanting support for her career goals. So in the second blank here, we're looking at, I would like to be able to talk freely to him about A, my career goals and interests, and B, having kids. Looks like I misspelled interest. Oh well. If you notice the A and B thing, that's there because you can have up to 3 responses or 3 goals for each blank. And you'll see that in the next section. Okay, and blank number 3. I would feel really good about my spouse and my marriage if we could A, agree on and stick to a budget, and B, share our hopes and dreams. Now you notice in the red squares there's some suggestions here. These are just ideas. They're just samples to give you an idea of the types of things that fit in there. You're definitely not limited to only those in any way, shape, or form. And finally, the last blank here is I want a relationship where I give my honest best to my mate so that I can feel, even if I don't get all the results I want, she wants to be able to feel confident. In this case, she wants to feel that she's a good marriage partner, essentially a good wife. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the answers into each one of these blanks and go down here and plug them in so we can identify the specific actions we can take. And so we're going to use the answer from blank number 1. Since she only had 1 response, we're going to use this box A. If she had 2, we'd use B. And if she had 3, we'd use C, which is down there. So this is her goal. She wants Mac to be able to support her career goals and interests. So what are 2 actions she can take to build towards that goal? She can kindly but directly ask for his support. Believe it or not, the vast majority of us are not married to real jerks. Just ask the other people in their lives. And frequently, they just don't know what to do to give us the things that we want. So asking directly, telling him specifically what she wants, just might work. And of course, asking kindly is a way to avoid the 4 deadly poisons. She's not using criticism or sarcasm or contempt or anything like that. And then the second action she could use would be to ask him how she can help him feel better, more comfortable about supporting her career goals. And of course, make it very clear that she's willing to compromise. This is exactly what she's wanting to do. So in this case, she's actually basically asking him, how can I add to your positive feelings about me around this area of my career goals? This is the Marriage Navigator question in a different form. So what would be getting in the way? The fact they have an ongoing disagreement about her time at work and kids. They disagree about my time at home or at work and not at home, and kids. So what is a way to get around that? She can go out of her way and just offer to come home early 2 nights a week and make dinner. So that would show that she's listening to Mac and she's responding to him, but she's also not directly addressing the kids issue, which is probably something that's going to take longer to make peace with. I'm going to skip the responses to blank number 2 because I don't have enough time in this video, unfortunately. We'll go to blank number 3, and this is where you plug in the goal for this. This would be the A response, and of course down here would be the B response, and C would be down there. So now for the A response, what are 2 actions she could take to increase the chances of them agreeing on a budget and sticking to it? Well, first she can bring up the subject of her finances and try to understand his views. By bringing it up gently, she's going to avoid the 4 deadly poisons. By trying to understand his views, generally anytime someone really genuinely tries to understand your viewpoint, you usually experience that as a sense of acceptance, a sense of being understood, and it's positive. So she's going to be adding to his positive balance of feelings for her. Action number 2, she could write up a tentative budget and share it with Mac, but clearly make sure he understands it's compromise. This is just like an idea, and what do you think about it kind of thing. Would there be a barrier? Well, of course there would be, and the barrier in this case is that he feels I'm trying to control his spending. My guess is they probably had this discussion, this argument, this heated topic a few different times, and he ends up feeling as though she's trying to control his spending and ultimately probably behind the scenes trying to control him. So how can she get around that? She can ask for his ideas of what items to include in the budget and the amounts for each item. It's a way of giving him a significant amount of control in this situation, so hopefully it will reduce his feelings that she's trying to control him and his spending. So move that by accident. Okay, we'll get here to number 4. She only had one answer here to blank number 4. She wants to be able to feel confident that I've given my reasonable best, that I'm a good wife, a decent marriage partner. Even though I don't get everything I want in my marriage, if I can feel that way, it's good enough. So how can she reach that goal? Here's 2 actions she can do. This is the first one. Review Mac's criticism and complaints about me and identify what I can improve. This is specifically, remember we talked about in one of the other videos about observing our spouse to figure out where our actions or attitudes are affecting them on the positive side or the negative side of their balance of feelings for you. In this case, she's observing Mac's criticisms and complaints and then saying, okay, how can I change this so I'm changing those to a positive? How can I improve? Of course, the hard part is listening to those and not reacting in a negative way and using your own deadly poisons, but she's working through this action guide in a calm mind, and she's able to think about it clearly. So the action 2 that she could take is to ask him, what is one thing I could do to help him enjoy our marriage? This is exactly the Marriage Navigator question. It's basically saying, Mac, how can I add to the positive side of your feelings for me, especially as it relates to my marriage, to our marriage? So possible barrier, fear that he'll criticize me, or that I will feel I'm not good enough. And essentially, that's almost 2 barriers, fear that he will criticize her. Given that Samantha is a pretty proactive kind of person, she'll probably decide that even though she's kind of afraid of his criticism, she's going to just do everything she can to treat him with kindness and respect, so it'll be less likely to occur. but she's going to take the risk because she doesn't want it to be something that gets in the way of them and builds a barrier in their marriage. And her sense that she doesn't feel good enough. How is she going to deal with that? Well, she's chosen to accept the truth that she's making honest efforts. She's making a genuine effort to try and improve things in her marriage. And because of that, she can look at herself and go, you know what? I'm making an honest effort. I'm really trying in this, and that's good enough. So now we're going to go down here to step 3, and we're going to try and put it all together into our 4-point immediate action plan for Samantha. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to choose only one of the goals in blank number 1, and she only had one in this particular case. She wants Mac to support her career goals, and now there's 3 criteria to choose the right action, building action, or barrier breaker to plug into related to this goal. The 3 criteria are this: is it something you can do immediately or very quickly? And is it something that's going to make a big difference in your spouse's balance of feelings for you? Is it going to really add to the positive side or really take away from the negative side? And third, is it something you can actually do? Obviously, a 3-month trip to Tahiti would be nice. We could probably do a lot towards building towards our goals or breaking barriers, but if you're $10,000 in debt and no way to get there, it's not something you can actually do. So her second goal, we didn't really discuss this. She wanted to be able to talk freely about having kids, and what does she choose to put in here? Ask about his view and feelings about having kids and listen without criticism. Obviously, it's something she can do immediately. She can ask tonight or anytime it's appropriate so they have time enough to discuss it. And listening without criticism would add to his positive side of his feelings for her. Agree and stick to a budget. Oops, looks like I made a bit of a mistake here. Let me go up and review that real quick. So here are the 3 options. We have 2 actions here and 1 barrier breaker, and we're looking for ones that are immediate, would make a difference, and something she can actually do. So gently bring up the subject of her finances and try and understand his views. That's definitely something she can do rather quickly, even tonight. Write up a tentative budget plan. Well, that's something that take a little more time, but something that she'd probably do within a week or so. And then ask for his ideas about what to include in the budget. That's when you're actually sitting down and trying to do it. So you might notice that the 3 of these put together are actually action steps towards reaching this particular goal. But for now, since we're looking at what she can do immediately, we're going to choose number 1. Gently bring up the subject of her finances and try and understand his views. I don't have time to really copy that in here, but that's what's going to go in number 3 here, as far as the building action we're going to take. And finally, in number 4, blank, she only had this response, that she wanted to be confident, and if she could feel confident about her being a good enough wife or marriage partner, then even if she didn't get everything in her marriage that she wanted, then it'd be good enough. And the most immediate and effective thing she can do is to accept the truth. In fact, she's making a good effort, and that's good enough. And as we pointed out earlier, by accepting that about herself, it will greatly reduce her chances of using the 4 deadly poisons on her husband. So I hope that this specific example at Samantha will show you how you can use this action guide to develop your own 4-point immediate action plan and get you started as quickly as possible on positive change in your marriage. Thank you so much for watching, and may God richly bless you in your efforts towards a vibrant, passionate, lifetime marriage.